Hello, good people. This is a PSA from TSA. You are listening to the Underground Railroad Show at Spreaker.com. I am the great TSA with my assistant, That Ninja. I'm sorry for the lack of attendance. I was busy spiking faces and beating data dominoes. TSA out.
Oh, man, I love the game of golf. It was a beautiful day out here today, wasn't it, baby girl? You didn't think it was a nice day today?
Well, I am sweating all over, so no, I didn't really think it was.
Well, I mean, you got to drive the car. You got to drive the car, and it did have a hood on it, so it kept the sun off of you.
Yeah, but it had no air conditioning.
Well, okay, fair enough. So, we're going to get something to eat, right?
Of course.
Cool.
And you're obviously paying, right?
Always. Man, golf is a fun sport. Hey, I drove the ball pretty well today, don't you think?
Pretty well to the far right, yeah.
But, okay, even though I went right, my iron game was really good, and I was able to fight my way out of that.
Yeah, but you hit it into the sand, and you did that quite often, might I add.
Even when I went in the sand, my chip was really tight, so I was able to get out of there and get close to the flag.
After 3 times.
You have to admit, though, my putting game was really good, and it saved me a lot of the times from all of the bad hits I had out in the fairway.
And it only took you 11 holes. Listen, until you get a good golfing game, I'm going to keep giving you shit.
I'm improving. I mean, since I've gotten started, haven't I got a lot better?
Yes, you've gotten better since your injury.
We don't have to talk about my shoulder, but I mean, that's another reason why it's coming along slowly, but, you know, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
Sure.
Hey, baby girl, I'm about to go hop in the shower. When I get out, we head out to the volleyball tournament, okay?
Okay. Oh, can I use my the computer?
Oh, yeah, of course, baby. Of course. Hey, baby girl.
Yeah.
Repetition breeds familiarity.
Familiarity breeds comfort. Comfort breeds complacency or success. We're going for the latter rather than the former.
All right, good deal. Handle business.
Okay.
Hey, remember you're a beast out there. Act like it.
I will.
All right.
Let me see what he got in these emails. Spam. Overdue bills. Not surprised. Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. Young nigga got it bad 'cause he's broke. What is this? Sarah? Linda? Becky? Amber? Amy? Molly? Ginger? Heather? Karen? Oh, hell no. We are not having this. No, I don't want no Pancake Tuesdays. Oh, God, delete. No, I do not want your lemon bars, Karen. Oh, my dad's gonna get...
Do you have strong opinions and you're looking for a way to express them? Are you tired of carbon copy sports radio that infests the airwaves? Do you have creative concepts and ideas that you want to share with the world? Then this is not the commercial for you. This commercial is all about
Kinko's University.
That's right. Kinko's University gets you prepared for the podcasting world when you don't have the chops for it. If you're one of the many people looking to get into podcasting, but you just don't have the skill, Kinko's University is the university for you.
I want to do a podcast, but where do I start? And what do I talk about? Kinko's University.
Don't worry, here at Kinko's University, the first thing we teach you about is OPP. That's right, other people's perspective. So you can always have something to talk about getting it from another source.
Podcasting looks fun, but do I really have to do all that research and show prep? Kinko's University.
Absolutely not. Here at Kinko's, we have classes like No Preparation 101, where we teach you to get around all of that pesky show prep because we know you don't have the time.
I wonder what the best time slot is to get the most listeners.
Kinko's University.
Don't worry, here at Kinko's, we have a class called Recycling Ideas 101, where you can find a time slot that works and just jump in that slot to try to make it happen for yourself.
Kinko's University.
I want to come up with new content and subject matter, but I'm not that creative.
Kinko's University.
You'll also take Regurgitation 101, which will help you come up with other people's subject matter that you can recycle and make your own. That's right, here at Kinko's, we teach you how to get around hard work, getting new wrinkles in your brain, and having to work hard at your craft. Come to Kinko's, where you can take these top courses with top teachers. Most people that go to Kinko's graduate with Kinko's degrees, that's right, as master copiers. Kinko's University, for the skilled impaired.
Kinko's University is not a real university and is not accredited. You don't actually learn any skills. You just learn how to mimic people who have actual skill.
Underground Railroad Show with that ninja. All aboard, have your tickets ready because the train has arrived. Delayed or on time, it's time to get on board.
What's going on, fam? This is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, that ninja. I hope you are enjoying the ride thus far. Thank you for coming aboard and rolling with me. It is what used to be a Militant Monday. I'll still call it that, even though I'm rolling solo now. Still with hopes that one day Light Skywalker might come back to the air.
Motherfucker.
I believe podcasting is beneath him now, but I enjoyed the brief. Well, it wasn't brief. We went for a while. We went for some years with Militant Monday, where our shows were back to back. So shout out to Light Skywalker for fighting a good fight. And what I'll do is I'll squeeze a guest appearance out of him every now and again. Pause. But as far as him and taking podcasting seriously once again,
who this nigga on that name?
Excuse me as I drink some tea. I'm getting my voice right. Thank you for coming aboard. Okay, right off the bat, my apologies for the fact that I have to think about it is wild. Last Monday for sure, but I'm trying to remember that I missed 2 Mondays in a row. I think I might have, and I apologize, man. Life is life, and I'll keep it at that. Won't get into a long-winded explanation. So a couple of things on my mind. I'm not going to get into football today. If I do, it will be on the lighter half of the show. For those that aren't accustomed to the show, some may be asking, and I saw this once, who does a show when the game's coming on? I do, for about the past decade. A lot of the cats listen to me. We don't, depending on your understanding of the game and depending on who you are, you don't need the commentary. I mean, I find it to be a detriment to the game, so I'm not a big fan of it. So I never listen to the commentary. So I always watch the game, but I never had the volume on anyway. So that there's the explanation for that. The purpose of the show, I call it the Underground Railroad Show because what I'm attempting to do is to set free the stories that don't really see the light of day. So I'm attempting to set free those stories that don't see the light of day. So that's why I named the show the Underground Railroad Show. I go everywhere from sports, politics, topical issues, whatever's on my brain that day. And again, I use this as somewhat therapy and a stress relief. And I've enjoyed. I've been doing this for about a decade now. The format's different now, so there are different platforms. So that's the only reason I reset the show for those that aren't familiar with it. But thank you for coming aboard and rolling with me. Truly appreciate it. And as I think about it, at one point I will go to Facebook and check it. I never remember to go to Facebook, and after the show, I'll go and look and see comments. So I'll check that after the opening. Thank you for coming aboard and rolling with me. The title of today's show is The Scum of the Earth. The Scum of the Earth. Now, what I'm going to be discussing today, and what I'm going to get into and have my rant so I can do my rant on the radio rather than out here in real life. So what I'm going to talk about today is the current state of America, due largely to this administration and largely to the people that I look towards and speak about more than the administration, because these are the people that I deal with on a regular basis. The citizens and the people that we deal with on a day-to-day, I think it's a little more relevant to discuss them, because as much as government plays a huge part in your life, your day-to-day is dealing with these individuals, and that's the part that I tend to focus on or give just as much time to, because that's more or less going to be the day-to-day experience for your average individual. I always think about the factor that they're the cause of this, and they're the people that voted this individual in, who doesn't care about them at all. If you're looking at the orange one, it's not like he's actually a fan of these individuals. But it is my thoughts and my theory, as I titled the show, The Scum of the Earth. What I'm referring to, and I'll give several examples as to why I'm looking at these individuals as the scum of the earth. The individuals I'm referring to are the individuals that blindly put this administration in power, that blindly supported him through terrorism, blindly supported him through rape, blindly supported him through bankrupting small businesses that they claim to be a fan of, blindly supported him terrorizing and attempting to overthrow the country, as they continue to support him on nothing other than racial rhetoric, race baiting, cliches, and the warmth and the warm feeling that they seem to get when somebody harks to the days of old, when their ignorance could go unchecked. It's almost like in baseball coverage. When I did watch the Four Letter Network, I guess over a decade at this point ago, and they spoke about baseball, there was always a segment that showed when black people couldn't play. Oh God, baseball when it was pure. Oh, the game was so great back then. And somehow in their mind that wasn't offensive and or immoral.
Motherfucker.
Just keeping it factual, first and foremost, it was a segregated league, so it was inferior by default. It was an all-white league, an inferior league. The second thing is that league was inferior because the best players in the world were on the other side of town in the Negro leagues. Even the white people went to go see them because quality is quality. The major leagues were exclusionary, so those players were great by default. But every time they talk about when the game was its greatest, they speak about the all-white league. So I'm speaking about their mentality. Claim not to see color, claim all this bullshit when it's cute. But if you look at the actions, they still see things as white and non-white. They still see things as us and them. And I'll discuss this as I go through a few things. Speaking about the state of America due to the scum of the earth, the problem with America is not a lack of black people voting. It's not a, I'm sorry, I meant to do this before I really got started. Quick mic check. Quick mic check. I don't see any body saying it's blurry, but give me a quick thumbs up just to make sure everything's cool. And as I'm waiting on that, I'll do a quick acknowledgement. It is Monday night. It is Monday Night Football. We're about to see Sidney Jackson's Eagles. Thank you, sir. We're about to see Sidney Jackson's Eagles take on. Am I looking at this right? Yeah. Taking on the Green Bay Packers. That's actually a very good game. So I'll attempt to do my best not to react to the game. Oh, that's my plan. Okay. And excuse me as I situate myself. What am I doing here? Not there, not there. And this is the Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy that Ninja. I apologize. Let me get this together. And okay. Ah, yeah, that would be the issue. All right, my apologies. All right. Get the game on in the background. So when I speak about the scum of the earth and the issue, I'll keep it within the last, I'll keep it within my lifetime. I could go a lot of places if I just go back, but let's just keep it here. Speaking about why this problem persists. There's one repetitive factor. And it's a large section of white America being extremely gullible. If I go the way of the stools, it's a large section of America being extremely gullible. And let's just keep it with this current administration. Now, even bringing them in the first time was simply, y'all got a black guy, so we're going to vote in the most ignorant bastard we could ever think of. I mean, you know, whatever they're doing. But after that first test run, and this individual doing everything that they claim they hate, there was still blind support. And again, it was never based on any type of real ideals, any type of real actions and bills he wanted to put into place, any type of solid foundation whatsoever, all based on cliches and connecting with their inner ignorance that obviously meant more than anything, meant more than their so-called love of the country, because they were willing to commit treason when they didn't get their way. Quite frankly, just like their ignorant ancestors, if you've done history on why a lot of the massacres took place. But let me just stay focused. Gullible in the sense that people like the Orange were able to convince people that if they had enough sense, they would hate and fight the people that they're supporting because they feel like they're their friends. But as long as those individuals that are actually the real problem in this country, the people that control everything, the rich motherfuckers that actually run the government, as long as they can twist and turn America the way they want to, as long as they can twist and turn those gullible individuals the way they want to, nothing will ever get addressed. They should actually hate people like the Orange one. They should hate them. But all he has to do is give them somebody that's brown, somebody that's non-white, to dislike or blame for their problems, and they'll roll with it. And that's what I mean when I say there's evidence that they still look at it as us and them, white and non-white. I spoke about those, I forget, one of those tests that you take universally when you're in high school, and, name, all that shit. And when they got to race, there were two categories, white, non-white, which describes the mentality of America. It really still is that, which is why they didn't bother really changing that test for the longest, because what's offensive about that? And as my best friend said at the time, who was in the classroom, he's mixed. He said, I'm mixed, so, what am I supposed to put? And as we laughed and the teacher got upset, I'm like, that was actually a legitimate question. White and non-white, so if you're mixed, what do you put? That was a legitimate question, but it was an amusing moment. I digress. The Orange one and people like the Orange one are able to convince gullible whites that things like affirmative action are holding them back. Things like affirmative action put unqualified people in positions. And they even tried to spew that rhetoric, or he spewed that rhetoric, and that's one of the things that helped to get him elected. It was nothing to do with his plans. It's nothing to do with integrity, being a good person. The man's a rapist. You claim to love women, but not when he rapes them, it's all good. He bankrupts small businesses that a lot of you own. You still vote for him. The hypocrisy is incredible. And on top of that, he committed treason against the country you claim you love. You hated a nigga for kneeling, who knelt because police were murdering black people at a ridiculous fashion in the open, because they were being blindly supported by the despicable scum of the earth and the gullible whites of this country. Again, the problem is not a lack of black people voting or not praying hard enough. It is the gullible whites of America, who are truly the scum of the earth.
You're the worst kind of scum on the face of the earth.
just for clarity, affirmative action is not to, it didn't exist or it was not put in place to give unqualified black people a chance. That's something that you tell yourself to feel good about your lack of ability, your inferiority. That's what you tell yourself. It sounds good. Oh, this is in place so unqualified black people can get jobs. It should be based on merit. Do you know why affirmative action was put in place? Not because black people weren't qualified and we needed help. Not because the jobs were so complicated we could never understand. And by golly, we just need to be put in place because we have to have handouts. No. You know why affirmative action existed? Because if left to their own devices, the majority of white people will not do the right thing. It was put in place because no matter how qualified a black person is or was, you weren't going to hire them anyway. Not because of what they were doing or weren't doing, but because of how fucked up you are. That's why there's always the deflection of, it's always a deflection away from the truth, which usually goes back to you being the scum of the earth. Anytime a black person has been put in position and been given an equal opportunity, we've always excelled. Every single fucking time. There's no evidence of inferior black people being put in position because of how they look. Affirmative action was not a tool to hire incompetent black people. It was something that had to be done because left to your own devices, the majority of white people were always going to do the white thing instead of the right thing. It wasn't because we needed it. It's because you wouldn't do right otherwise. But saying that out loud doesn't sound good. So you say dumb shit like it's for unqualified black people. No, it's to help treacherous whites who are in charge and were never going to do what they were supposed to do because they do everything based on race, like electing this administration. This administration can convince you that food stamps and welfare are some of the biggest problems in America, giving you the image that brown people are the majority of the recipients of this particular government assistance. Let's go ahead and go with welfare and food stamps. Let's just go here right now. Welfare and food stamps. Couple of aspects. Again, to the scum of the earth that, again, if you were just semi-competent, semi-intelligent, semi-decent, semi-human, and you stop being led in a certain way. Now, again, don't get me wrong. This is not all gullibility, which is why I'm saying scum of the earth. A lot of this is by choice. Nobody's really this dumb. But again, being so simple and so poorly raised and fixated on race that as long as they give you a brown person to blame for your problems, you'll ignore that the problem is who you're voting for. Then you vote them in office and start protesting everything they're doing because you didn't vote on them based on merit or skill or talent or the ability to do the job. You voted on them because they made you feel like you were in your granddad's or great-granddad's era, which you miss, going back to baseball being great when we weren't in it. But again, affirmative action, that false narrative. Again, let me say that one more time. It was put in place because white people in charge weren't going to do right without it. Not because we needed help and weren't qualified. Quite frankly, y'all were just fucked up. It is what it is. But again, saying that out loud doesn't make you look good. So you just say dumb shit like, oh, so unqualified black people could be hired. Nothing further than the truth. A black person put in any position always excels because we always have to do more to get in that position. Unqualified black people don't get hired. That is rare. But again, that is a white narrative. And unfortunately, some black people will repeat it, but some of us are sheep. Now, let's just move on to the gullibility of being told that food stamps and welfare are giving you problems and dead, whatever the hell they're telling your dumbasses. That is if you have a fucking plate of fried chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, macaroni and cheese, and on the side you got some garnish. Welfare and food stamps are the fucking garnish. That has nothing to do with what's wrong with your goofy ass life or dead or what's hurting the country. It's just that whatever upbringing or fucked up ass fake Christianity you belong to makes you very selective with what you like to label as a handout. And again, let's talk about the real on this. The image of that being black people. I know that's what lights you up and that's all they have to show you because, again, gullible, stupid, dumb, whatever you want to call it. But there is a large quantity and portion of white America in this country that is so goddamn stupid and gullible, these motherfuckers can tell you anything as long as they put a non-white face on it. And it's your stupidity that has us in this situation in the country.
You're the worst kind of scum on the face of the earth.
Brown people are getting food stamps.
Come on, man, that's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle ass spirit.
First and foremost, if you're white in this country and you can't make it, you've made a host of bad decisions, or you're just stupid. And I say this because I know so many incompetent white people that can get a job and be just fine if they shut the fuck up and act right. Sorry, it's just the truth. And anybody denying that, you haven't lived enough life. Sorry. If you're white and you can't make it, you're really fucking up. But let's just digress off of that. But what I can say unequivocally is that you have it a lot easier. And if you don't believe that, then that's part of the problem. But again, them being able to show you an image of brown people getting food stamps and whatnot, and you being outraged by this. But they can go give ridiculous amounts of money to other countries who are supposedly in need. And you don't flinch. Tax breaks to the rich and you don't flinch. Let's rip up the White House to make some kind of stupid ass ballroom and you don't flinch. So it's really not about what they're telling you the programs are. It's about who you are perceiving to have received it. First and foremost, this is dropping the bucket. It's the garnish on the plate. It means nothing in the big scheme of things. Secondly, if you're going to spend what is essentially our tax dollars on something, why the fuck wouldn't you spend it on assistance and feeding people? Why the fuck wouldn't you? What should you spend it on? Foreign aid? All the bullshit all the things they did back in the day where they gave white farmers money and wouldn't give it to black farmers, gave black farmers bad seeds, all of these things. You want to ignore that, but when something is done to try to rectify it, you're outraged. The ignorance of a large section of America is why we're in this predicament. Again, if you were decent, we wouldn't have this damn problem. But again, because you see it as us and them, all they have to do is give you an image of a brown person receiving some type of benefit, and you flip the fuck out.
Come on, man, that's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle ass spirit.
The second part of that is mostly white people receive those benefits. When I long story, quick reset. My daughter played volleyball. They had a camp in Coleman where the coach had them stay in campgrounds in Coleman, Alabama. So I stayed out there with them. There were no cabins available because they had them all. So I stayed in a fucking tent so I could be within an earshot of my child just in case. Ready to go just in case. And you know what I saw when I was out there? Me being gullible, I got out there and I said, okay, there are not a lot of people camping. There was a decent amount of people in RVs. And I don't know if they were camping or just living in the RV and saving money. I actually think it was the latter. I think they were living in the RV and just saving money. But the people that were in those fucking tents, they lived there. I'm thinking, okay, they just kicking it for the weekend. Once I kind of saw the way the area moved, I'm like, oh, this is their home. There were 2 or 3 people by themselves, a couple of people with a couple, and there was 1 or 2 full fucking families in big ass tents. That was their home. Those are the people on food stamps, on welfare. Those dusty ass people that every now and again went to the bathhouse. When I was in Walmart and saw an entire white family come in, they had an odor that came off of them for at least 200 feet and were wearing dirty clothes and everything on them was dirty out of whatever mountain they came out of. Those are the people on assistance that don't bathe on a regular basis, that show up unbathed in a public area, that probably were the host for COVID if it was a matter of a lack of sanitation. But these individuals are the ones that are actually on these programs. So again, your gullibility is the problem.
You're the worst kind of scum on the face of the earth.
Aid to foreign countries, tax breaks for the rich don't upset you. So because of your gullibility, because of your ignorance, because of the fact that all somebody has to do is give you the image of a brown person taking something from you, or doing those little interracial jabs, hey, this and that, just saying whatever the type of things they like to say, where they're saying little secret racial jokes, I'm with you in all of this. You eat that shit up, you build entire stores for this motherfucker. You commit treason on the country. You run up your credit cards going to his stupid ass rallies. When I was at a volleyball tournament, I literally saw some of those parents visibly upset because they wanted their kid to lose so they could get the fuck out of there and get to Coleman, Alabama, because the orange one was on his way. I just got through there before they were getting ready to shut down the road. I saw the fucking caravan coming down the other direction, and I just got past that exit he was about to turn on. I just got out of there before he got through there. There were multiple parents that were ready to go and visibly frustrated and, kind of feeling jazzed up because the person that made them feel like, what else is there other than it really makes me feel good to act like the worst fucking people that have ever lived, because that's what he ran on and it worked for you. And when he gets in and does all this dumb shit, you're shocked. The tariffs don't help anything, and it's going to raise up prices on everything. But again, you're not looking at common sense shit. All of that's on you. Again, not on black people that didn't vote. This is on them because they didn't vote for what was best for the country. They voted what was best for God, I don't know. There's no intelligent answer for that. I'd imagine they voted for whatever just made them feel good at the time. Because there's no intelligent reason to vote for this ignorant motherfucker. But you're the one that voted for these things when I was driving through downtown Huntsville and all these signs and people holding up a shit, no tariffs. You're the ones that voted for you.
Hang in there, whites.
You're the ones that voted for him.
Hang in there, whites.
What did you think he was going to do? He didn't run on anything other than acting like you. I'm annoyed with y'all, and I'm just going to bring the only reason I'm just speaking about this is because I'm still seeing posts and thoughts, and it's because of the brainwashing we deal with in this country, but there are so many black people that still blame themselves for what a large section of white America is doing. Listen, that large section of white America.
You're the worst kind of scum on the face of the earth.
They voted him in the office just because he appealed to their inner ignorant sensibilities. That's not on you, Ninja.
Come on, man. That's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle ass spirit.
And as soon as he got in and started doing what anybody with common sense could probably figure out he was going to do, they started protesting and holding up signs. Good God. Okay, man. Y'all are geniuses. Have fun with it.
Hang in there, whites.
So because of your ignorance, we're dealing with tariffs. All they have to do is convince you minorities are taking opportunities. Cutting Medicaid, millions of people losing coverage or about to lose coverage. Cutting WIC, again, aid for infant formula and groceries. So many dumbass colonizers believe that their life isn't what it should be because brown people and black people and people other than them, because it's mainly y'all getting it. And again, the people that are getting these programs probably need it. And if you're hustling it a little bit, so fucking what? Who gets more hustle than a rich person with tax breaks? Companies with tax breaks. Who gets more hustle than that? And you're worried about that because this is what they're showing you, which makes you fucking stupid. Again, the problem with the country, the problem is that we're still dealing with white people that are so gullible, a large section of them that are so gullible that any rich person that doesn't give a fuck about them can tell them anything and they roll with it. This motherfucker attacked the country, had them do it, had them aid in his ignorance in this so-called rebellion. Treason is what it's actually called. Simply because they lost a fair election. They then turned around and voted this into the White House. We're talking about people that built a noose, chanted hang Mike Pence, wiped shit on the walls, broke things, stole things, injured and or killed people. And only one dumb white bitch got shot in the face when she tried to climb through a window. She was a military service member, by the way. Very, very patriotic. And these people run on being patriots and people that love the country and that are defending the country. They're defending it from evolution. They want, the reason why they still celebrate these ignorant ass low-life motherfuckers that were the scum of the earth, literally, the so-called founders of the country.
You're the worst kind of scum on the face of the earth.
The first, 12 to, well, all presidents, but for damn sure the first 12 to 14.
You're the worst kind of scum on the face of the earth.
Every heinous act and denial of the heinous act, and now an outright erasing of history, they're in support of, either outwardly or by their silence. And again, all it takes is the same formula. They've been running this game for a very long time. And again, a lot of this is based in their own ignorance and the things they wish would come back around. But there was no time in this country where black people would look at it as great. And for that to be your campaign is just a lot of, I wish you just say outright what it is, but a lot of coward ass race baiting, a lot of so-called slick language, and that is literally all he ran on. So we're looking at a bunch of stupid ass people who have now put the country in peril out of a lack of intelligence, poor upbringing, or caring about nothing more than the so-called image of white supremacy. So now Medicaid is getting cut. WIC is being cut. Head Start being cut. Social Security benefits being cut. Disability benefits being cut. Some programs for veterans being cut. Turnovers are the worst. Maybe he was down. All of these things being cut after this administration gets in. Most of this affecting white people as well. Majority of it, for the most part. And the same people that voted for I hate to be repetitive, but just as the current state, as I'm looking at, you have conversations, you see certain posts. Even after all of this, even with everything this administration is doing, with the obvious blame needing to go towards the people that actually put them in office, so many of us are still of the mindset to blame ourselves for it because somehow we believe that if we try hard enough, we can overcome piss poor upbringing, piss poor DNA, and piss poor moral compass. And it's just not true. Now, at the very least, we can address the actual problem and maybe have a better understanding of it. But to blindly believe that you can vote out the entire point of that previous rant, all of those things I was speaking of, they're proud of. That we can't correct anything because all the things that they should be ashamed of and they should want to correct and get past, they're just denying. So instead of discussing history like they do in Germany, they don't hide any of that. They talk about it, and that's how you move on. Here, they deny it, laugh about it, have a smile on their face, say stupid shit like everybody benefited. It wasn't just us. And now they're just erasing it because the information is readily available. So rather than deal with the problem, they erase it and find a black spokesman to say it's okay. Again,
You're the worst kind of scum on the face of the earth.
let's cut off benefits that help with medical aid, food for infants, that help people who actually need it. Let's get rid of that. The current state of America is not because black people don't vote. It's not because the young people should comb their hair. It's not because some people sag. And I don't like sagging either. I think you look stupid. But it's not the point. That's not the problem with America. That's not the problem with the state that we're in America. They were just as ignorant when ninjas wore suits. It's a form of Stockholm syndrome that no matter what these cats do, if you engage in conversation, somehow it's going to come back around to if we do this, they'll do that. It's always a way where so many black people blame themselves for this ignorance. Everything that's happening right now is because of the large portion of white America that is simply the scum of the earth.
Come on, man, that's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle ass spirit.
They voted this man in on nothing more than race baiting and making them feel nostalgic about an era that they wish was still here. Not because they're good people, not because they're Americans, because they support everything white no matter what the hell is happening. And their actions prove as much. So it still frustrates me when I see ninjas blaming themselves for that shit, I promise you. Asking your politician to do something for you and a ninja not voting, I promise you, it didn't make white America vote for a raping, racist, unqualified piece of shit that ran on nothing more than it's us against them. Their poor upbringing did it. Their heritage did it. Still celebrating people they should be ashamed of did it. But I promise you, not voting intensely enough had nothing to do with the behavior of white America that has put this country in this state. So if you're going to continue to post and talk about it, please address them without the coward, weak, pathetic disclaimer. Address the problem if you're really upset about what's happening. As we get ready to come into the next barrage of political bullshit, if they can still run the same game and have a large majority of otherwise intelligent black people, and that's what's frustrating. Politics and religion cause otherwise intelligent black people to engage in cognitive dissonance and forego all of your common sense to believe in bullshit. One, we need to address the actual issue. That's the large portion of white America that's voting with everything but intelligence. Secondly, we have to hold anybody who we're going to give our vote to accountable to do something for us. And if you can't even get a political candidate to discuss doing something for black people, that should let you know everything you need to know about the process. If saying I'm going to do something specifically for black people is political suicide, please tell me how this process can help you. And if I say this and you hit me with simple-minded bullshit like you're voting for Trump or you hate women, no, Your simple-mindedness is what's killing us. That's what they do. And it's gotten to the point now where black people don't have intelligent conversations. We're on the same, so many of us are on the same boat with them, where instead of discussing things and being intelligent, when somebody says anything other than what you want to hear, you say one or two things. You hate women, you love Trump. If that's where we are, there will be no progress. That's what the simple-minded whites do. That's why they can turn in whichever way they want to go. It's actually okay for the people to get the majority of your vote to say they're going to do something for you and say that shit with their fucking chest. And deep down in your heart, you know that that's political suicide, because if any candidate speaks up for black people, calmly, intelligently, and factually, they are fucking dead in the eyes of politics. And at one point, that needs to be addressed. And if your only response is simple-minded shit, I can't help you. I had a great father. I have a great mother. They raised me to actually think. So I don't understand this weird-ass need to blindly support in certain situations and to not think when these situations actually matter. The way you live your life matters, and the people you vote for actually matter. That's what should receive more scrutiny, because it actually matters. Way more than some entertainer being arrested by the same people that voted this asshole in office. But I digress. This is the Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Let me read a little bit of chat before I finish the second part of the point. And I'm trying to stay right where I'm at and not rant as much, because I'm trying to stick to a point. But this stems from my frustrations of still seeing the same behavior and knowing that when the next political barrage of advertisements come, they're going to be able to divide and or confuse us with the exact same stupid shit. And at this point, that shouldn't be able to happen. Focus on the problem. I'd love to see a multitude of posts addressing all of the good white people that I hear about all the time, because if they're simply uninformed and you post about it, surely they'll look at your post and say, oh God, I see the error of my ways. I'll no longer vote for a tyrant that doesn't like my black friends, because I'm a decent human being. I'm sure that will happen. You should address them. But please stop blaming white behavior on black people. Not praying hard enough, not combing your hair, sagging, not supporting Kamala, which is a lie, but for the people that didn't, that dumbass narrative, I promise you, that didn't make white America act the way that they're acting. That's on their parents, their heritage, and their stupidity. Address it. Because yelling at us is just a cowardly ass act from people that won't talk to the people that they love more than anything. I can't help it that that's your deity. I know you're trained to, no matter what they do, to blame yourself, but it's actually okay to blame white America for this. That is who did it. And from there, we can have whatever discussion you want to have. But the discussion, if you want to change things politically, there's only one way to go. Talk to white America and convince them through facts and intelligence why they shouldn't vote for this piece of shit. And I'd imagine the reason you don't want to do that is because you know deep down inside they're not going to respond well. So like a child, you lash out at people that had nothing to do with it because that's the easy route. And that's actually the American way. Blame black people no matter what. So I'm just stemming why I'm so frustrated watching black people continue to do this. It's really weird. And when I'm having discussions and talking about things, and when it's something that's just sports or whatever media narrative is going on, and I get frustrated with people who just follow it blindly, a lot of simple-minded surface people think that I'm I'm not doing what most simple people do, which is trying to win a conversation. I'm trying to have a discussion. And I know that when they can just say anything and it's just repeated. Like I heard somebody say in the Stu's chat room the other day, there was some kind of report about something, some stupid shit. And the what I heard in the chat room, and again, and at this time, after everything that's happened, somebody said, if they're reporting it, it must be true. So even when we're at this point we're at now, somebody still thinks that if white media reports something, obviously it's true. There's nothing these people there's nothing that these people can do for some of us to convince them that they can't be trusted. And that same person immediately questions anything any black person tells them. That's just the way America trains you to be. Some people fall for it very easily. Some people fight it off. Some people don't even realize they're doing it. But that's how they're able to flip us. And I see it so plainly when people discuss politics. And it's so damn plain. But I'm not saying it's going to change anything, but to not address the problem still, it's wild to me. I promise you, nothing that we do, nothing that we've done, nothing that we're ever going to do makes those people act like that. Nothing that we did made them go up to the Capitol and wipe shit on walls. Just stop and think about that. Nothing we did made that happen. I just see it for what it is. If you support that, then how am I supposed to look at you other than a piece of shit? You can be that way. I really don't expect anything else. But the one thing I won't tolerate is you claiming to be a patriot, a decent person, or a Christian. You can go to hell with all of that shit. You're none of those things through association, through your action, and or your inaction. That's the only thing that aggravates me. It's still claiming to be a decent person while supporting bullshit. And that's what I deal with most of the time with these cats. If you're going to be that way, go ahead, but don't claim or pretend like you think you're decent. You don't. It's not possible. Coming aboard the train to his usual bomb drop for slapping the sauce out of his wife's hands when she tried to apply it to my ribs. True story. We have none other than the great Sidney Jackson. What's going on, sir? Wait a minute. Did I adjust the volume? I did. All right, just making sure. Forgive me for that pause. Getting back in position. Okay. This is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, Ed Ninja. I'm introducing some people in the chat. Gonna get back to the commentary. And okay, there we go. Sidney Jackson saying that about to watch these birds beat the yellow out of these cheese boys. Very well might be right, sir. We will see. Next man aboard the train. We got Sluggo the motherfucking Ham on the train. What's going on, sir? Thank you for coming aboard. Hope you are enjoying the ride thus far. Let me increase the lighting. Hold on a second. That is not bright enough. Oh, now I can see. Sluggo said the American populace. That statement in itself is kind of funny. Forgive me as I'm situating the chat room. You know what? Let's just stay right here. Oh, there we go. Sluggo said the American populace, especially the white population, populace, is by far the most uneducated group on the planet. That's the only way they can continue to spew nonsense without feeling guilty. And again, I agree, sir. I agree.
You hear you? I hear you. You're the worst kind of scum on the face of the earth.
We were way past all the excuses and the BS, and we were way past that anyway. But Once you watch white America throw a tantrum because black people dared to complain about being murdered by police that were supposed to protect us, and they blindly supported every cop with a stupid smile on their face, pretending to be stupid because white violence is not offensive to them. Obviously, anything that white people do, that fucked up or not, for the most part, it is blindly supported. Now, for the people that have morals and you believe that you don't do that, I said believe because some of you are full of shit, but the ones that believe you don't do that, then again, these words shouldn't turn you into a different person. You should still be able to stand on that. But if you pretend like there's not a large portion of white America that doesn't turn a blind eye to everything that white people do, then you're either a liar or you're dumb as hell. Again, I can point out a billion different things, but we can just stay right there with January 6th. Went back to my daughter's school way after that. It's volleyball season. One of them coming up to me with casual talk. I can't remember what he said, but they always like to slide in bullshit like it's okay. They always like to slide in a little bit of bullshit. There are multiple things, just little slick conversations, things of this nature. The funniest thing was false equivalence. And I'm just keeping everything level. The funniest thing was listening to the false equivalence. That was the funniest thing. But I can't remember what he said, but it was something to the point where I was like, okay, I'm finna hit this motherfucker with some truth since he's coming at me with this bullshit. Whatever he said, I said, yeah, that's kind of like those ignorant bastards that attacked the Capitol on January 6th. And when I said this to this patriot, this American, this person that loves the country, he looked at me like he was upset and walked off like I said something wrong. How dare I talk about people that look like him doing terrible shit? Obviously, he's a fan. If you're a fucking American and you love this country and you were mad at Kaepernick for kneeling because you were pretending like that meant he didn't like the country, because again, you're just supporting, because again, black murder, you're with it. That's all that is. I keep it simple. I'm not having a discussion. Oh, that means you're cool with us being killed. I know how to feel about you now. It's that simple to me. I don't waste time with a lot of bullshit because I put myself in those shoes and I don't operate on that level of ignorance. So I can't understand anybody that does. I don't celebrate murder. I don't turn a blind eye every time a black person does something. I'm not built that way. Because again, I actually have morals. Now, along the lines of what you're saying, Sluggo, spewing nonsense. Nonsense like Trump is good for the country. He's good for small businesses. Again, what frustrates me is you're supporting ignorance based on nothing more than race baiting, and you're not even man or woman enough to admit it. You want to pretend like it's about policy and whatever other bullshit. It's fucking amazing to me. But again, such is the American way. Sidney Jackson said, to quote that meme floating around the web, if welfare was only for black people, it wouldn't exist. Again, preach. Preach. Again, if you were to actually engage in real conversations, again, like I do, I don't have the surface conversations. I'll engage in real conversation. And if me calmly telling the truth in an intelligent manner upsets people, I'm good with you getting the fuck out of my face. Because generally, if I do that, that's after me having to listen to a bunch of bullshit. And it's very annoying. Watching, and again, we're talking about if I'm dealing with people that, once again, I consider myself to be a good parent. I know the mother's a good parent. QT is a good parent as well. And I know that because of the actions that I'm looking at a bunch of people who in one way or another are a piss poor example for their kids. Because everybody that's supporting this bullshit, you're breeding an entire new generation of ignorant, short-sighted, spoiled, pathetic, non-bathing fucking people that will blindly support anything that white people do because they think that's being a patriot when you're actually being a fucking terrorist. And that's becoming normalcy. So every time I see black people blaming themselves for their bullshit and not addressing it, I'm frustrated. Literally, what else do they have to do? It's okay to hold people accountable for their actions. The only thing they have to be is slightly intelligent. Again, Sluggo, they'll vote against their own interests if it means depriving black folks of something. And again, that's a fact because that's what he ran on. That is a fact.
America's so worried about black folks.
That's a fact. Because of the fact that
America's so worried about black folks.
That card can always be played for most of white America, and you can get them to do anything. And they keep falling for it when they should be upset with the people that are feeding them this bullshit. But their short-sightedness and their upbringing that causes them to base everything on race, I can say that because of their actions. And I'm going to elaborate on that. Matter of fact, let me just stop because I want to elaborate on that at the end of the chat. Let me make sure I remember that. For a fact, because of their actions, and I'll elaborate through fact, their actions, they base everything on race. And nobody can ever accuse black people of that, even though through training and being a sheep, some of us will say that. And I can calmly tell you why that's a lie, and there is no argument for it. And if there is, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. But I'll give you some calm facts as to why that's just not true. Sidney Jackson said, ask the average MAGA what Trump has done to improve things. They are completely dumbfounded. As if some... Sidney Jackson said, ask the average MAGA what Trump has done to improve things. They are completely dumbfounded, as if someone just handed them a washcloth and a bar of soap. Shit. Oh, shit.
Who raised you?
Once again from Sidney Jackson. Ask the average MAGA what Trump has done to improve things. They are completely dumbfounded, as if someone just handed them a washcloth and a bar of soap.
Amen, preacher.
To anybody that's offended.
It's my house. You know what it is? And if you don't like it, you get the fuck out.
I offer you this perspective. Isn't this better than attacking the Capitol, wiping shit on the walls, and attacking a country you claim to love? Isn't it better than that? Isn't it better than that? Isn't it better than a fake ass? Isn't it better than me purchasing an illegal AR-15 and shooting people for protesting murder? Isn't it better than that? I'm just saying. The American way is black words are more harmful than white actions. And unfortunately, some of us are following that narrative. You really have to examine where your narratives came from. I digress. Sidney Jackson, you never disappoint. Sluggo said, ask the whites about the continued high prices of groceries and they'll blame Jim Crow Joe instead of their dumb, great white hope. Again, man, preach.
Amen, preacher.
Look, we're just going to stay with the theme.
You blind motherfucker.
Again, blaming it on Jim Crow Joe.
That's a lie! That's a goddamn lie!
We'll stay with the theme.
You're the worst kind of scum on the face of the earth.
Groceries are a motherfucker, boy. Sidney Jackson, quarterback sneak on those weak cheese boys. Sidney said, damn, Cubs was way off sides. Sluggo said, they live there. Shit, fuck. Yeah, I didn't realize. Like when I was there and I did that little camping thing so I could be close to my child in clan country that their coach thought was a good place for them to be. I mean, they know the story. I'm not going to reset that. There were a lot of. I got an episode based on my stories about that, and it was a hilarious episode. Yeah, they live there, and like it took me a second to figure it out because I was just minding my own business. And by the second day or by the end of that night, and it might have been a conversation I was having on the phone, I realized through that conversation, I was like, wait a minute. They live in this motherfucker. They're not camping. Like I was giving them the benefit of a doubt or whatever you want to call it. Now, there was a whole collection of people over there in RVs. And again, I don't think it was necessarily vacation time. Maybe it was. Maybe they were at the camp too. Who knows? But there were a lot of RVs over there. But they didn't look like visitors. It looked like a little community. And again, this was a well-kept park. Not one mosquito bite. I stood out there for a minute, relaxing and sipping shine with a flashlight, so I could be seen in the middle of pitch blackness. But I didn't get bit by a mosquito one time. It was a very well kept park. But yeah, they were living out there, and trust me, they needed those benefits. Trust me. Sluggo said, nobody has a problem with corporate welfare. You should see the mental gymnastics to justify it. And again, corporate welfare, tax breaks for the rich, because, again, the ignorance of a large portion of white America is I'd rather side with rich white people because I base everything on color as opposed to intelligence. There's really no other explanation. And they can flip these motherfuckers every time. Sluggo said tariffs. China pays for tariffs to hear... Tariffs, question mark. China pays for the tariffs to hear them tell it. Hashtag dumb and dumber. Again, they believe anything this motherfucker tells them.
Come on, man. That's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle ass spirit.
Hang in there, whites.
Sidney Jackson said, I love asking them MAGAs, when is Mexico going to pay for that wall?
Hang in there, whites.
When is he going to pay for that wall? When are they going to pay for that wall?
Hang in there, whites.
Because if a wall was built, who are you going to hire to build it?
Hang in there, whites.
Other people are capable of it, but I'm just saying, in all reality, I'm in the labor world. I know how it goes. If you see a crew with no Mexicans on it, believe me, that's strategic, and it's not normal. Great point, though, Sydney. Who is going to build it? I can only imagine the look on their face. Hey, Ted, when is Mexico going to pay for the wall? I can only imagine Yeah, Sydney. I had the same, in my brain, I said the same thing. Sidney Jackson responding to that fumble earlier. Great defense. They punched it out because I think Philly was well on their way into the end zone. So great job by the defense as we're looking at a scoreless game with just under 7 minutes in the second quarter. Scoreless football. Oh, where am I at? Did I miss? Yes, I did, sir. I sent it to your email. I 1000% sent that to your email, sir. I did. I sent that to your email, sir. I apologize. I don't see him saying it, but I'm going to put it in here anyway. Coming aboard the train with his usual. It's not in here, but I'm going to give it to him anyway. Good evening.
Motherfucker. Motherfucker.
We have none other than JBJ. What's going on, sir? JBJ coming in saying, I don't believe you sent a link, sir. And I'd just like to say right now, that's not true. I sent you a link, sir. You're always the You're the second or third alert. No, you're the second alert that I send out every time. You're always the second alert that I send out every time, sir. Oh, just making sure. Okay. Sorry for the pause. This board and the way this damn thing moves. That's a damn shame, man. Okay. That's a damn shame. And this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, that Ninja. Still not used to this damn board. JBJ saying, I don't believe you sent a link, sir. I did send you a link, sir. I did send you a link. And I'll be damned, that's still not where I need to be. Here we go.
Come on, man, that's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle ass spirit.
I sent the link, sir. Check your email.
Come on, man, that's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle ass spirit.
Man, you sorry.
Says JBJ.
Man, you sorry.
Sluggo said, no, wait a minute. Yeah, Sluggo says, being exposed in 4K is a great reality show. Black folks should step aside and watch the whites implode. I like that. Once again, Sluggo said, being exposed in 4K is a great reality show. Black folks should step aside and watch the whites implode. I believe I agree with you, sir.
Hang in there, whites. Hang in there, whites.
JBJ says, still waiting for that link, sir. Hey, man. This is wild. You're a wild boy. Okay. Sir, if I didn't send that to you, somebody got an email from me and they're like, what the hell is this? I just sent that once again, sir. I sent that once again. I already sent you a link. And you know they're on those other platforms. You're tripping. You already had the link, sir. You had that link, sir. This is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, that Ninja. Sluggo said, the farce and stranglehold of this two-party system has to be addressed. The system wins either way, while black folks are left holding the bag regardless of the winner. Man, you better preach on that shit. Let's examine that one. This farce and stranglehold of a two-party system has to be addressed. The system wins either way, while black folks are left holding the bag regardless of the winner. And this is the thing where we don't have that discussion. Is that who I think it is on the ground? Show the field. Dude in the 33 jumping at Saquon's legs, hit that lineman dead in his knee. He reached for it immediately. Okay, sorry about that. But even when you're attempting to have one of those discussions, you can't have one of those discussions when people come back at you with unintelligent rhetoric. Well, you offer them some type of fact and they hit you with frustration or warm and fuzzy. They give you frustration or they give you warm and fuzzy. And I'll never understand it. JBJ saying, still waiting for that link, sir.
The brilliance is the best brilliance is brilliance born not from someone ignorant.
So disrespectful.
The brilliance is the best brilliance is brilliance born not from someone ignorant.
Sluggo said in negative 92 is still pardoning January 6 offenders. Again, preach.
You're robbing us, you son of a bitch.
Of any type of so-called justice. And again, this behavior is breeding an entire generation of worthless, non-bathing, sister-fucking motherfuckers who are privileged, who don't follow the rules, who are terrorists posing as patriots, who are going to be a problem for any decent human being and this country going forward. You're breeding an entire generation of these same motherfuckers.
I hope those white bitches get tear gassed. I hope those white bitches get tear gassed. I hope those white bitches get tear gassed.
You hear you? I hear you.
Yeah, but he's still pardoning January 6th offenders, sir. Still pardoning them.
Hang in there, whites. Hang in there, whites.
Sidney Jackson says 2nd and 2 and they run twice, but 3rd and 14, I'm sorry, 2nd and 2 and they throw twice, but 3rd and 14 and they run. Make it make sense. I can't make that make sense, sir. JBJ did come in with his usual good evening.
Motherfucker. Motherfucker.
JBJ said, you usually post it in the group chat as well. It was in the group chat, sir. I did put it in the group chat unless I accidentally put it in a... It is in the group chat. Unless I accidentally put it in one of the other group chats that have popped up because y'all do so damn many of them. But it should be in the group chat as well, sir. Now, if you need it in the group chat, then clarify, and I can make that happen as well. And again, I'll finish this thought off, and even with having my notes, I still end up going on rants, and I try to stop myself so I can come back, but incidental contact on the knee. It's always the worst. But the problem with this country is what's always been the problem with this country. Short-sighted, ignorant-ass Caucasians. I'm sorry. And because of the yeah, it seems that there's a lot of over-officiating anytime you got a couple of ninjas at quarterback. There's always a lot of over-officiating. You don't get those holding calls when it's Detroit because they hold on damn near every play, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Moving on. Where was I at? And what was that? Oh, I remember now. And that should be up here. Okay, it's not. Okay. That's interesting. Something is not where I thought it should be. I can't imagine what that would be besides there. That's weird. Okay. I know y'all don't care about that. My apologies. That is weird. Why wasn't that over there? That should have been there. All right, let me move on from that. I am really tripping on that. That should be... Hurry down. I don't know what my logic was on that one. Let me get off of that. That's me looking for a soundbite. I don't know what my logic was on that one. JBJ saying, you usually post it in the group chat as well, you funky dog head bitch. That shit's in there, bro. I just can't find it right now. Sidney Jackson said, inflation went through the roof due to COVID. Guess who was in the White House when COVID started and said out his mouth, quote, COVID is a hoax created by the liberals to ruin the economy. Hint, he's the same color as baby faces, as babies' feces. I'm sorry. No, you didn't. That's funny. Inflation went through the roof due to COVID. Guess who was in the White House when COVID started? And he said out of his mouth, and I remember this, and again, selective amnesia, they act like they don't remember this shit. COVID is a hoax. COVID is a hoax created by the liberals to ruin the economy. Hint, he's the same color as baby feces after eating mushy carrots. And nobody remembers that shit. Or again, they pretend like they don't remember it. Great point, sir. Great point.
You're a goddamn genius. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160. You are goddamn gifted.
And this is a point of frustration with me as well. Sidney Jackson said there are still sick black people blaming men for Harris losing. Despite 82% of black men voting for her, yet when people point out she wasn't a good candidate or the DNC had no real plan and they were dumb to select a woman of color to run in a racist-ass country, these yogurt mouths still want to put the blame on us. And that's the problem. And thank you, Sidney Jackson. That is a great precursor to what I want to talk about.
That boy is good. You're a goddamn genius. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160. You are goddamn gifted.
That's a great precursor to what I want to talk about, sir. As we finish this up, the other side of it, again, the other reason that black people really, and I hope, I don't know what it's going to take for it to happen, but where they should understand and stop blaming themselves for white behavior. The other thing that they do that we don't do, where there can never be false equivalence. White people support all white people blindly. There are exceptions, but for the most part, and you can see that, they support all white people blindly. When police murder black people, mainly Caucasian police officers, they ignore it. When a bunch of ignorant, unbathed, worthless white people attack the country they claim they love, disrespecting police officers and military alike, they laughed it off. When the black man was up there talking about how all of those unbathed, worthless motherfuckers were screaming at him and calling him nigger and not listening to commands, and he was gracious enough not to start shooting people, which was weird to me. The so-called people that are supposed to protect us from that shit were laughing as he was talking about it. And somehow all of this is lost on a large group of us, and you go right back to a white talking point, which is voting. Not even details around it, just a simple-minded statement such as, that's why you need to vote. Actually, that's why you need to think for yourself. But again, white people supporting all white people blindly. Kyle Rittenhouse. Charlie Kirk. All of these situations where race baiters and people that incited ignorant behavior and supported it and laughed about it and misquoted and left out details and white-splained it like they always do. All of these situations are supported blindly by them. And these are situations where things are actually detrimental. We're talking about police officers, government, judges. We're talking about these are the things that they ignore and act like they don't see. Murder, things that actually affect our lives, things that matter. They ignore that and act like they don't see it as long as a white person's doing it. But the same people hated Colin Kaepernick with every fiber of their being because he chose to not suffer peacefully. And again, there were bitch-ass black people criticizing Kaepernick with white talking points on the air proudly with that same dumbass demeanor. But these are people that, again, not everybody has good parents, and some people like to pose as being black when it's comfortable for them, but like to disparage black Americans because they feel there's something else because of their birth origin. And I can leave it there. But there are a lot of people that are black when it's convenient. And when it's also convenient, they don't mind shitting on black people and calling themselves something else. But again, there were so many black people with white talking points that after everything Kaepernick did, after all of these murders with the police, they still got on there and said, I'm not going to repeat any of those things, but some people just, their God is their God. My God is not white America. Therefore, I'm not looking to agree with or rationalize everything they say and do. But I think most of us operate that way, to where no matter what they talk about, in your mind, you have to discuss it. And the only thing that rationalizes that to me is that's your God. That's the opinion you care about. You must address this. The Lord has spoken. I don't know what else to derive from it. Personally, I find it easy to not care about their narratives and the things that they put out. That's why I stopped watching I stopped watching mainstream, because there was no real, you either hear it and you're disgusted by it and you can't stand it, or you rationalize it and end up repeating it. And you never have an intelligent reason for saying the things that you're saying. I literally look at the way that they operate as the adaptation of the devil on earth. So I would never want to emulate that. And that's where my frustration stems when people just roll with mainstream talking points. They're always looking at it from a simple surface aspect. What I'm looking at is no matter what they do, you still feel like whatever they talk about, you must discuss. And as long as they have you like that, you'll never be able to comprehend things that really matter. And that's really what I'm thinking about when I see how easily white talking points are taken in and repeated by black people. And one of the main white talking points that still hasn't died, that I see otherwise intelligent people doing, is that black men didn't support Kamala Harris. When again, 83% of us voted for her. She didn't win because white America didn't vote her in. And the other side of that is if you had one inkling of common sense and you paid attention to the truth, you would have known that white America was never going to vote a black woman in. And it just amazes me that that was never a talking point that was brought up in the chat. That was a setup from the beginning. White America was never going to vote for a black woman. And I guess there are so many of us that actually either don't realize that or you're not adult enough to say that out loud. You actually thought that white America, this white America, was going to vote for a black woman. You're out of your goddamn mind. If you were trying to win that election, you put a white man up there so a bunch of ignorant ass people could feel good about voting for him. Because it wasn't about qualifications. If it was, we would have had a female president by now. It wasn't about qualifications. It was about the fact that anybody who wasn't a fucking idiot knew white America wasn't going to vote for her. And when you try to have that conversation with otherwise intelligent black people, they start giving you white talking points. Which is why you don't see me really talking about this and getting involved in all the stupid ass conversations that again are repetitive white talking points. Because as long as they can turn you that quickly, as long as their opinion means everything to you, nothing else matters. The day that most black people question everything that white America tells them, the same way that 99.9% of black people question anything another black person tells you. Until you treat them like you treat the people that look like you, you're always going to be fucked up mentally. They can always turn you. So it's almost like the conversation is lost. But if you turn on the news, that's why I made that statement earlier that somebody posted, if they're reporting it, it must be true. That means that that's their God still. They're not even talking about this piece of shit in the office like the terrorist motherfucker that he is. They're reporting things like it's normal because, again, this is white savagery is normal to them. They're not even talking about. They had more criticism. I'm trying to remember one of the very mundane things a black person has done. They had more criticism for Kyrie Irving telling the truth. Oh, no, not even telling the truth. They had more criticism for Kyrie Irving posting a link than they have had for anything that Donald Trump has done or anything that is ignorant, non-bathing, worthless, piece of shit, coward motherfucking supporters do. Way more angst because white people are offended by black verbiage way more than white murder or white actions. So how could you possibly not understand that following their narrative makes you a goddamn fool? It's so confusing to me. I don't get it. But do your thing. Do your thing. But that's our issue. It's not praying hard enough, ain't enough of us in church, or all these dumb things that come up every time we talk about what's wrong in this motherfucker. The two things that never come up are white America and black America not willing to talk about the actual issue. Or white America, it never comes up, and holding our candidates accountable. Those two things never come up. It's the same stupid shit that was said in the 50s. Let's just get somebody in there. At any rate, white people support other white people blindly. And that's why we're in this state. Black people can't wait to criticize another black person. And the majority of the time, it's on the word of a white justice system saying they're guilty. When there was nothing but white savagery going on and white people that should have been getting arrested left and right, white people that actually were affecting your life, like negative 47, negative 49. My brain's spinning right now. All of the ignorant motherfuckers that supported him, all of the things that were going on with white America, they started arresting rappers for lyrics in their songs. And the only response I heard from most black people were, damn, they stupid. Nothing about, damn, white people are so fucked up, they're ignoring real crime and reaching to prosecute black people that have found a way to make it in the country. The other thing that happens with the brainwashing, I don't have this disease. The other thing that black people do that's really weird to me, when bad things happen to black people can't wait to believe it, laugh about it, and seemingly get so goddamn happy. But the same people that do that felt sorry for Charlie Kirk. That's all the evidence I need. White people will ignore black people getting murdered, prosecuted wrongly, mistreated, and ignore white savagery attacking the country. Black people can't wait to laugh at a black person being jailed for words. Black people can't wait to empathize and sympathize with Charlie Kirk, somebody that would laugh at your black ass if the police shot you 27 times. Black people never criticizing white people that are causing the issues, but happy to laugh at the white talking point and white narrative of this black person did something because we said so. Now, we're the same people that are ignoring this real crime. But these lyrics this nigga wrote, that's the reason why we got him in jail. He's a terrible person. This singer, we're going to make up some shit that he did. He did some bad shit, but none of it warrants what we want to do to him. So we're going to make up something. And black people are just going to laugh and tell jokes. But when white people commit actual crimes and don't get convicted, it just rolls off your back. That's weird as hell to me. I don't have this happened to a black person. I'm happy as hell. Let me post about it. I don't get that shit. And most ninjas that do that are loud and proud about it. But it never crosses your mind they're being attacked by a crooked system. You can't convict a cop with a tape of him murdering a nigga, but you're arresting rappers for lyrics. You're making up laws about kidnapping to put somebody in jail. You're taking somebody that abused a woman and prosecute them for that, but it doesn't carry enough jail time, right? So I'm going to make up a bunch of shit. I'm going to put a bunch of shit out that's not a crime, but it's going to be enough to amuse a bunch of dumb niggas that have more fun laughing at successful ninjas being prosecuted when white criminals are just running amok. When I'm watching white crime being ignored, I can't rejoice when they reach to arrest successful black people. That I don't understand that. But I don't understand that. But do your thing. I don't understand. I just doesn't. That doesn't function for me. When I'm watching a system that won't prosecute savage ass white people, but you're reaching to prosecute ninjas that are successful, I don't look at that as celebratory. The same people that ignore real crime can't put out a bunch of articles and put a black and get some bitch ass nigga, some black person to do the shit, and that doesn't justify it for me. It doesn't work. What about this real shit over here? How can you reach and make up shit for this, but real crime over here you ignore? Mentally, we're completely fucked up. But that's the other thing I've never understood. I don't have that something bad happened to a black person, oh, I'm so happy thing. I don't have that shit. And most black people think it's some type of badge of honor to do that. And you scream out, I don't care if they're black. That's kind of strange because that's all white people care about. And if you don't understand that one group of people blindly support white people regardless, this group of people can't wait for them to tell this group of people to tell you what black person they hate, because that's all it is. When I'm watching white America blindly support a piece of shit like Trump, blindly support every time a police officer murders a nigga, and then these same people tell me you should dislike this person because we're prosecuting them for lyrics, I don't get it. The only thing I saw, even some bitch ass rappers said it. All they said was, man, he was stupid. If we're talking about verbiage being a crime, do we really need to talk? Did Charlie Kirk go to jail? He got fucking murked on. He got murked on TV, but he didn't go to jail. There are too many cases. Who had more reckless rhetoric than this orange motherfucker that incited a bunch of non-bathing pieces of shit to attack a country they claim to love and they claim to protect and they claim to be patriots of? If we're talking about rhetoric, but did anything happen? I don't get it. Nothing but dumbass nigga jokes. I see a lot of dumbass white people, they just don't go to jail for it. That doesn't, you know what? Let me stop. I'm just ranting. I don't get it. I don't get it. They literally support everything. January 6th, they all turn a blind eye. Nigga getting prosecuted by a crooked ass white system. Oh, he's so stupid. He's so dumb. That is way more detrimental to us than not voting will ever fucking be. Yet nothing's gonna. I don't know if you think some kind of angel's gonna fall from the fucking sky and make these motherfuckers act right, but we need to act accordingly. If they're gonna support everything the white people do blindly, and when I say everything, I'm talking about actual crime, murder, treason. The last thing we should do is giggle and celebrate every time they decide to arrest a nigga. And every time they arrest somebody, it's some motherfucker that's doing well. People just can't see the shit. I don't fucking know. But again, okay. I don't think that white people are capable of judging us properly. And I can say that because of their actions. But for some reason, so many of us don't seem to think that's an issue. I don't get it. Through action, white people are inherently violent and volatile when they don't get their way. Once again, January 6th, once again, they're taking down these statues. We're going to protest and shoot into a crowd of people protesting because we want these statues of rapists, murderers, and the scum of the earth to stay up because that's what we love. That's what we support. Which is a whole nother conflict in itself. Black people, on the other hand, are way too forgiving. Multiple people feeling sorry for Charlie Kirk and posting it. Multiple people, every time a police murders somebody, the first thing a black person says is, the first thing they do is make sure that you know that they love most cops, and then they talk about what happened in a very apologetic way. They run it through a white filter because the last thing they want to do is offend white America. But how can white America be offended if you're talking about a murder just because it was done by somebody in a uniform? A decent human being will not be offended when you talk about a murder. If they are, they're not a decent human being, and you shouldn't care. You should treat it the same way you do when you're making fun of ninjas. Black people are very forgiving. No matter how many people police murder, every post starts with, all police aren't bad. No matter how much white America shows you they don't give a fuck about you. No matter how much these motherfuckers vote an ignorant bastard like that in office, the first thing you do when you're criticizing the dumb shit that they do is, I mean no offense to my white friends. The problem with that is when you're shitting on black people, there's never a disclaimer. You just do it. And you should ask yourself, why do I think that way? Why does everything that I say run through this white filter, but I don't care what black person I offend? It's actually okay to hold accountable those you call friends. And hopefully that happens moving forward. But this entire again, through action, we're way too forgiving. I wish we weren't. We're way too forgiving. Last point before I get off of this. And this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, that ninja. The last point. White people claim Christianity. Black people practice it. When it's convenient, they will scream about being a Christian and do everything and engage in the most unchristian-like behavior known to mankind. Black people, despite the lack of production from their Savior, out church and out Christian white people effortlessly. What this tells me is that we're not mentally weak. And again, I won't get into the minutia of how I feel about that. It's actually a detriment, but white people lose their faith very quickly. They get disappointed. It's time to go wipe shit on the walls. It's time to build a noose. It's time to go back to the days that we wish were still here. And all of this is wrapped around the fact that if you engage in that and you believe in that and you yearn for that time, you can't simultaneously like my black ass. You can't. And I look at it just as plain as that, which is why I move the way that I move. And I get so disgusted with black people that are so forgiving and smile with people like that. But you jump on a ninja who won't, you know what? Let me just move on. It's fucking frustrating. But in the overall sense, last point is that white people love to claim God and Christianity, but the behavior doesn't match. Ninjas actually practice that shit. And unfortunately, it's to our detriment. This is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, that ninja. Thank you for coming aboard and rolling with me. Just speaking about the scum of the earth and the reason that we're dealing with these situations. And another side of that, another point about that, is we speaking about all the things that are happening right now. Social Security benefits, disability benefits, the government shutdown, which is affecting many people. A lot of people are laid off right now. Income is being compromised. Some people have actually lost their government jobs. All the things that this administration is doing because he was blindly put in by people that voted on this motherfucker for everything but being qualified. So just moving forward, man, again, I don't know how much of a change we can actually make, but I know there's no chance of a change at all if you continue to blame yourself for what they do. Address your white friends. And again, I won't get into what I believe, but due to the things I hear and the posts that I see, according to your logic, if you post and talk to all of your great white friends and explain to them the detriment in voting for people like this, then they should understand and act accordingly because they're great people. So please, can I please see at least one post without a goddamn disclaimer addressing the people that actually are causing this goddamn problem? And again, it's negatively affecting most of them, but it's long. as they feel like some minority is catching hell. Sluggo said, blaming it on black people is low-hanging fruit that won't get much pushback. At this point, it's frustrating because how many times can you continue with the same bullshit? This shit is old at this point. They keep running the same game back over and over again, and it continues to work. I don't get it. Oh, we got two. I was making sure to see who that was. We got Too Cute on the train. What's up, DJ Too Cute? Name, does that say musician? It's pink. I can't see it. Music is me. Okay, we got Music is Me on the train. And I believe this is DJ Too Cute. And what whites are quick to say is black. Oh, thank you for saying that. I didn't bring that up. Thank you. And what whites are quick to say is black on black crime. I be going word for word with they ass. Hey, listen, that's like a deflection. When I speak about some of the crazy shit that they do, right? One of the main things they like to say is, what about Chicago? Like, what about Chicago? You're talking about alleged criminals committing crime. Let's talk about how it's a very segregated city. Let's talk about how I don't know how much of that shit is not being done by some form of a police agent. I definitely don't trust the news. I don't trust white people to report things accurately. You're not going to do that. But why is it when I'm discussing a police department or police officers murdering black citizens, you talk to me about Chicago? Let me explain. I'll tell you something else that they do. If you ever talk to them about a situation that black people are dealing with, most of them gloss over it and tell you something that happened to a white person. Do you know what that means? What that means is, as you explain to them something heinous that happened to a black person, probably murder, they feel nothing. That's why they don't react. But in order to feel something, they have to give you a story about a white person being inconvenienced because they have empathy for that. Things like that are what leads me to believe that they're incapable of judging us properly. Because through their actions, I know that black words mean way more to them than white actions. A black person calmly telling the truth that they might not want to hear is offensive, and white murder is something to be ignored, as long as it's not a murder of another white person. And Too Cute, they always do that. They always do that. It's deflection because the last thing, what I found is that the white Americans the white people that like to participate in bullshit don't mind doing it. But if you dare to tell them what they're doing or that they're wrong for doing it, they get very, very offended. And again, I'm simply speaking about what I see because I don't have those surface conversations. Because they make me, because of their actions, they make me say something. There's this ignorant motherfucker at work that used to be in the service. And I remember he said he doesn't like Colin Kaepernick. He said, I used to be in the service. I don't like Kaepernick. And I said, stop. The two have nothing to do with each other. Number one, he knelt because we were being shot and murdered. What you're doing now is pretending like you don't know that and doing that white shit to where you, instead of just saying, I don't mind black people getting murdered, you're pretending like you're a good person and you don't like them for another reason. That's the shit I can't stand. If you're acting like you don't know why he did that, on some level you support people like me getting murdered. And for that, I have every right to say, fuck you in the air you breathe. How about that? And again, these are words. Am I attacking the Capitol? Am I buying guns and going across state lines and shooting at people in the crowd because I'm claiming to protect buildings? Do you know when I talk to white people about that, they say that shit as if they're stupid enough to believe that? On some level, you are inherently evil if everything that white people do, you ignore, rationalize, or white-splain. That is inherently evil behavior. And if you actually talk to people like I do, you realize that that's most. And if you did understand that, you wouldn't be surprised by the behavior because you know not really capable of much else. That's not my frustration. My frustration is committing or engaging in psychotic behavior and engaging in psychopathy and not being offended by what you're doing, not being offended by heinous acts by people that look like you, but being offended by people that dare to call you out for what you're doing. That's literally psychopathy. And that's the frustrating thing, if you ask me. They love black on black crime conversation. They love that shit. 2Q said, and now that you're on that topic, I can't stand 50 Cent's ass because he is quick to mock black men. You know what? 2Q, God damn it! Every time you come on here, you come on preaching and dropping fucking bombs. Forgive me for this damn not having this board down to a science yet. Every time you come on here,
you're a goddamn genius. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160. You are goddamn gifted.
I thought I was one of the only people. Like, I notice he does that, and everybody's always so tickled. I can't stand that stupid shit. That nigga childish as fuck. Now, I'm glad he a hustler and he's done all this great shit. But as far as his behavior, he does a lot of hoe shit. And that's another thing I can't fucking stand. I hate preach. 2Q, preach. I can't stand that shit.
Amen, preacher.
Sluggo saying, I believe to 2Q.
Amen, preacher.
2Q said, I can't stand that man with a passion. Okay, you're right. When have we ever seen or saw, when have we ever saw or heard him talk negatively about a white man or a woman? Shit, never.
Hey, who raised you? Hey, who raised you?
Never. And if it has happened, it's happened with such it's been so infrequent that I can't recall any other time that it's happened. So, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's probably why he gets so much run with it. But it's so what they've done is that with every generation that passes, we're getting closer and closer to acting like them, meaning being individuals that don't think. And okay, like a disease, something that black people are doing now that I'm very discouraged by. The lack of accountability. You know how I just talked about how a lot of white people don't mind doing dirt. They only get offended when you point out that they're doing dirt. We have black people now that actually play victim if you hold them accountable for what they say and do. And like when I'm like having this discussion, which I'm glad that 2Q came in and said that, because a lot of people would just pretend like I didn't take the time to give out detail and hit me with a bunch of cliches, which is very annoying, because if you take the time to give a well thought out argument, I hate when somebody that's uninformed or that is only half listened comes back at me with white talking points. But let me stay where I was at. It was see, that's why I got to stop that little rant and shit, because I forgot where I was going with that. Let me move on. But well, I do remember it was about 15 on back side, running the phone front. I'll say I know the social media is a really small part, and it's not like it's the entire world, but it's, and again, when I was talking about those other situations, for whatever crime they committed, if you're going to prosecute them, that's fine. But they literally hit that ninja with a with a law they made up to go after They made up a law because they didn't like Jack Johnson. So they made up a law essentially trafficking white women across state lines for immoral purposes or some shit like that. Nothing about that is illegal. They just made up shit. I don't understand how any black person celebrates that. And you always come with the most simple-minded, I'm either a bitch or I'm not intelligent response. It's all that you supporting this. No, they're making up something. Nobody's house should get raided because you beat up a woman. I'm sorry. That doesn't, and when I say that, if you're not a fucking idiot, you realize that that statement doesn't mean I support beating up a woman. Never hit a woman in my life. And I really shouldn't have to say that, but I realize how damn stupid so many fucking people like us are that I have to really clarify that. But did you know that beating a woman doesn't mean your house should get raided by the feds? They didn't have any real crime because the only thing they had to say after they raided his house was he had a gun and baby oil. And I've never seen so many people tickled by baby oil. I guess your freak level's not above a 6 or a 7, but I've never seen so many people tickled by baby oil. I'm like, when you're done telling the jokes, tell me why that warrants a federal raid. Do I really need to talk about all the white people that should have their shit raided? Every time any black group forms just for support, they deem them a terrorist group and dismantle them. They've never dismantled the Klan or the Aryan Nation or the Proud Boys or any of these inbred, non-bathing motherfuckers because they're members. The point in all of this is these are the people whose talking points you're repeating. It doesn't make sense. If you find yourself support everything your enemy opposes and oppose everything your enemy supports. And if we're judging by action, you should understand who your fucking enemy is. So I don't understand why you share their mentality. And if you do find yourself just saying, I came up with this myself, I'm not a sheep, this is what I believe. If you find yourself mirroring white America's thought process, you should ask yourself why, and you should fucking fix it. Why do I feel the same way that somebody that doesn't give a fuck about me? Why do I have the same mentality as somebody who doesn't care about me? You should really think about that and probably correct it, I would think. And this is the Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy, That Ninja. 2Q said you were talking about Social Security. I was. Oh, you said I was talking about Social Security when I jumped. Okay, thank you. Ah! Okay, now I see a different name. That says type. I really have to raise up my shades for that one. What the hell does that say? That is a ridiculously long name. Type 1. I'm sorry, I got to pick up my phone for that one. I apologize. What the hell does that say? Type 1 sucks at games. That's a long ass fucking name. I don't know what you have menopause means. Sydney saying, I've never seen Hurts this inaccurate. He never misses that throw. Yeah, the game is moving along at a pace that is not best for viewer consumption. Definitely didn't expect this type of football contest with these two teams on the field. Didn't expect this to be what I'm seeing right now. But it is what it is. We still have another half of football. We'll see how it comes out. But a goose egg on the scoreboard for both teams is not something that I saw coming. Not something that I saw coming. Thank you for that reset. And once again, this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. So again, just a quick thought on the scum of the earth. The only reason I brought that up again is just that I don't get it at this point. I don't understand at this point with everything that's going on how no matter what their actions are, somehow we're still blaming ourselves. So I don't expect that if you point out, if you have an intelligent conversation, which is going to be very difficult if you attempt to have it, with a large portion of white America, and you try to explain the issues you have with this administration and who they voted in and whatnot, if you try to have that conversation, I don't expect there to be some great epiphany. Oh my God, I didn't realize that. I'm so glad you pointed this out to me. Let me run and tell my brethren. Like, that shit's not going to happen. They're standing in this ignorance because that's what they want. It means more to them than anything, even their own well-being. Obviously, I can only go by actions. But at least you can start addressing the issue. But there's nothing more counterproductive, unintelligent, and quite frankly sad than watching multiple black people who are otherwise intelligent blame themselves for what white America is doing, has done, and is probably going to continue to do until there's some form of repercussions. So yes, there are terrible things happening right now, and that's undeniable. I choose not to focus on it because otherwise you're going to be in a state of mind that's not productive for living. And secondly, it's almost like bad weather. There's nothing I can do about the poor upbringing of a large portion of white America. If there was, you can't reason with the unreasonable, and you can't. The inherently savage are not going to become reasonable because you reason with them. And just one final thought. The reason why I can say white people are inherently violent is because they blindly support violence towards black people. And they're not morally outraged, but they become morally outraged if you point it out. And they claim that they're just supporting the blue. These are all code words. The imagery is that black people are violent. And I can say unequivocally that we're not. And my proof of this is that if we were as violent as we were depicted to be, or rumored to be, or projected to be by the very people who are actually violent and childish and spoiled and out of control when they don't get their way, if we were actually that violent, even half as violent as that, there would be no white people left. I know we're not inherently violent because white people are still here, and we actually blame ourselves. A large majority of us blame ourselves for their problems. White talking points, but nonetheless, we blame ourselves for their problems. And a lot of people think of that as evolution, or a lot of black people look at that as they've evolved or they're intelligent. And I offer you this. It's not intelligent. You're not being intelligent by projecting the image that your inaction or your action caused this behavior from white America. It's not intelligence. It's simply obedience. They want us to accept the bullshit and do it quietly so they can, live comfortably in their stupidity and bullshit. And that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And again, all you have to do to make it, simply just be honest, man. Just be honest. Let's just address the actual issue, because if not, it's so frustrating to see the things I've seen. The latest post that I saw really bothered me because I know how smart this person is, and I'm still seeing that. And I know you get frustrated, but this constant reach. See, y'all people that didn't vote. Oh, Jesus. You do realize that, number one, I vote even though the shit doesn't matter. And again, like, the average person, black person that won't address the Democratic Party and what they don't do for us is more offended by me saying voting doesn't matter. Those three words are something that outrages you. So again, you're following a white narrative. Black words offensive, white actions. Let's not discuss that. They do what they do. Let me scream at you because that makes me feel better. If we don't hold this party accountable to do something for us, if we don't hold our candidates accountable to speak about us freely I truly think they just over officiate when ninjas on the field. And maybe they're playing sloppy, but I just see too many. There are a lot of games like this where there's so many flags, there's not going to be rhythm. If that's on Green Bay, every time they've had a positive play, well, that was on the defense. There's just so much fucking laundry, but sloppy ass game. I think you're right. I think you're right too, Cute, on that last comment. And again, trolling is an interesting concept, but that is what it is. But it's just very frustrating to watch the constant. The last one I saw again was so frustrating because I know how intelligent that person is. Man, I'll never get it. I'll never get it. And again, just one last point to nail that in. If the actions of black people cause white America to act this way, if a singular black person or some act or some words being said can be used as an excuse, that white talking point of, see, that's why they don't like us, or that dumb shit that was fed to you by a white person. If any of that was actually true and the actions of a few could make an entire race hate a group of people, why don't we hate white people? If there was any validity to this black person did this, so that's why they look at us like that. If there was actually validity to that, why is it that most black people don't blindly and foolishly label all white people as fucked up? I can tell you why. Because we're not ignorant bastards. So if we don't do that, your natural response should be, well, I don't do that because I'm not a poorly raised, ignorant ass person. So how could I justify this race doing it because this image is being shown on the news or this rapper said something? And I'm using that to justify something they did. That's another goofy thing I hear a lot. Nothing that we've done or that we do causes them to act that way. And if that was true, we would have every right to act a goddamn fool, and we don't. So either we're cowards or they're fucking savages. Or we're way too, whatever the hell, we're way too fucking spiritual, and they're the opposite of whatever that is. They're the antithesis of that. But there's no way both of these things are happening. Two things there has to be something there. But you can't say, oh, they believe this because this person did that. Look what's on the news. No wonder they think we like this. Well, how many things do you have to see from them? Man, just stop. Just stop. I hate all the coward ass excuses. And I think it's through the way you're raised and whatnot. But if any of that were true, Black America has all the excuses in the world to blindly dislike all white people. And we don't do that because we're not fucking ignorant. So why do you make excuses for those people that choose to use that as an excuse for the way that they act? Look what happened in Chicago. No wonder they think. Okay, after January 6th, do you dislike all white people? No, you don't, because you're not an ignorant bastard, which means you should translate that thought to say, oh, if they're using that as an excuse, they're ignorant. That doesn't have validity. I'm not going to address that. I'm just going to label them as ignorant. But instead, we actually pretend like we're just way too great. We're way too graceful and forgiving. Way too graceful and forgiving. But it is what it is. This is the Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Just wanted to get that thought off of my chest. Hadn't done a show, I think, in 2 weeks, and those things were starting to bubble up, so I had to get that out of my system. I'm not going to address this garbage ass game, but let me say this. If I dive back into the world of sports, and as a matter of fact, and I see your chat, and I'm going to read it in 1 second. Let me make sure there's nothing else I left out of that. Okay, I remember now. There were a couple of side notes I wanted to bring up. Okay. I won't dive into anything overly serious looking at the time. I give myself a limit on how long I run these shows nowadays. Okay, and I know how I'm going to finish this up. Too Cute says, well, I wanted to push my white neighbor's teeth in her throat because she didn't include my daughter in her back-to-school pics. Ooh. But took pics of all the white girls. Every time I see her, I'm refraining from putting my fist through her eye. Okay, ran over. Thanks for letting me share. No, that rant is necessary. And again, microaggressions like that happen all the time. Okay, let's read this again. Well, I wanted to push my white neighbor's teeth in her throat because she didn't include my daughter in the back to school pics, but took pics of all the white girls. Every time I see her, I'm refraining from putting my fist through her eye. Okay, my rant is over. Thanks for letting me share. And what I'd like to say and what I'd like to expound upon concerning that particular chat. The other thing that white America does, a lot of white Americans do, is they will engage in behavior that if you did it to them, they would throw a goddamn tantrum. So her doing that to your daughter, if that situation was reversed, they would have absolutely no perspective and lose their mind and feel attacked. But at the same time, engage in that same behavior towards you and act like it's okay. And this is the literal definition and one of the characteristics of a psychopath. Somebody who is completely unaccountable, and when held accountable, they feel attacked. But they have no accountability for their savage behavior. Microaggressions like that happen all the time, and if a black person speaks out, they're criticized, sometimes by other black people that don't know any better. There are so many things that they do like that have to be addressed, otherwise they're going to continue. Or there are instances where we have to bite our tongue because we'll be looked at as the bad person when we're only standing up for what is right. In sports, and there are a lot of people that didn't play sports and, again, that follow white talking points and just don't know any better. If you didn't play sports and you're very talkative, anybody that didn't play sports, your opinions are skewed. And one of the ways a person that didn't play sports can be misled is, this is very common, and black people that play sports know this game. When coaches want to justify playing people that really shouldn't play or not playing somebody that obviously should play, they say they have an attitude problem. And most of the time, this is a white coach saying that a black kid has an attitude problem because when they mistreated that black kid and the black kid asked them about it, at this point, they're a bad person because you should suffer peacefully. I'm treating you like shit, but just smile until I decide to give you a chance. This happens a lot. And people that don't play sports don't understand that. And they'll actually defend that coach's bullshit because they're either so kind-hearted they don't believe somebody would be that fucked up, or they don't understand that even the best person, even if in their mind they're not pieces of shit, they're pieces of shit. In their mind, it might actually make sense what they're doing, but it happens so often. And so many of us think sports don't matter. If they didn't, why do these people go out of their way to cheat so their kids can have a chance? And this is in all. They have never, if a white person was playing golf as well as Tiger Woods, they wouldn't change the goddamn course to stop him from winning. That's reserved for niggas, even niggas that don't know they niggas. They wouldn't lower the mound if a white dude was dominating. They don't take dunking out because white people were dunking left and right. Most rules like that are meant to take away things that aren't an advantage for them. If they're in charge, they're going to fuck it up. Why do you think in the NFL that they let you hit black quarterbacks late every play, but if you touch a white quarterback, they throw a flag? One, to give them help. Two, to let the teams know that if you get a white quarterback, you can be the full beneficiary of these rules. They always do things like this, otherwise they can't fucking compete. I'm going off action. Action. Not their words, action. Everything about their behavior says that their sports can't be unimportant because the way that they go out of their way to give you the image that everybody, all the good players in sports are not ninjas. And I saw this in every sport, that's what they're pushing. And it's gotten to the point where it's really like we believe it. And I think I remember while I was ranting on earlier, I was saying that what's happening now is so many, like our generations and some of the generations of black people are getting to the point where we think like them and we're not accountable. And when you do and say things and somebody holds you accountable, you actually throw a tantrum and actually say things like, you actually think you're being attacked because somebody's holding you accountable for what you said and did. And you're always accountable for what you say and do. And the only people that get mad at things like that are usually, to quote Stews. And I'm noticing that we're getting to that point. The other thing that's happening is we're becoming individuals. So if we don't look at us as a we anymore, they've already won. And I think a lot of the younger generations of black people have that mentality. They don't see, well, they can't help but to see, some of the actions now is too apparent. But I'm telling you, there are so many generations that don't really see what it is. They don't understand the value of the history. And now that they're erasing it, I can't imagine how bad it's going to get if we don't keep it going. So that's why I'm extremely passionate about the fact that if we don't keep that going, I know the road we're going down because we're halfway there now. And what they want is for us to start acting like white Americans, to where all we care about is ourselves, and it makes us easier to control. Now we have to deal with the government and white America not liking us, so we really can't afford it. And then you have groups of ninjas that just want to be, they love to be one of the very few ninjas in a neighborhood and in a company. You have those. You have those that claim to be Christians and good people, but they will cut another black person's throat in a heartbeat if it can help them get ahead. And then you have those of us who simply aren't informed. Then you have some of us who want more than anything to be that black person that will shit on other black people if it means I can advance in this society. And so many of us are jacked up like that. It's an issue. And there are so many other black people that may or may not have been born here that are black when it's convenient and love to shit on us when it's convenient as well. So there's so many things fighting us right now. And you combine a lack of not knowing your history and all this false equivalence, and now white people lying about all the things, lying about history, lying about mentally, we're going to be in an even worse place for generations to come if something isn't done to combat this shit. So that's what bothers me more than anything. That's what really bothers me more than anything. TQ says, my daughter is the only black kid in the area. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. That's a terrible environment. Some people covet that, and I've never understood why. That's a terrible position to be in, because I just don't. I hate that, because I can imagine some of the things that you and that she has to deal with. I can only imagine. 2Q says, now it's to the point none of the other kids talk to her at all. Again, so I mean, but think about the mentality of America right now, the way they're acting, depending on the neighborhood. That sounds about white. And that's the other issue with the way they're acting. They're raising a whole nother generation of kids to be fucked up by showing them through example. I support ignorance. I support terrorism. I support murder, as long as they're murdering brown people. And I completely support being a weak-minded bitch that throws a tantrum when I don't get my way. Through their actions, they're showing their kids this is the way to be. So that means my daughter has to deal with these ignorant motherfuckers the same way I'm doing. It's not going to get any better, because they're not. The reason why your daughter's dealing with that is because they don't want to correct anything. They're happy to be ignorant motherfuckers. That's why it doesn't change. You can't be proud of Robert E. Lee and call George Washington the father of the country and call him a great man and still be a good person simultaneously. That's not possible. You can't do both of those things at the same time. You can't support somebody that participated in the oppression of my ancestors and expect me to support you. It's just, they're not ashamed of their history. They just want us to not complain about it. To put it in perspective, if Germans controlled Jewish people's history, academia, and the way that their curriculum and their entire life was structured, there would be a lot of stupid shit like that as well, where you are losing points in society because you don't speak glowingly about Adolf Hitler. And black people speaking glowingly about any American president is speaking glowingly about Adolf Hitler. And again, evil ass white America teaches us about Abraham Lincoln being a hero. Why? Because they always want to give you a bullshit image of white America saving black people. Abraham Lincoln didn't free shit. They freed us because we were right on the verge of killing these motherfuckers because that's what they deserved. So they gave us a false image of freedom and continued to attack because that's the only thing they've known to do, and they haven't stopped. And you can't have a government full of the descendants of these people deciding how we're treated. They're not going to act right, and they won't, and they haven't. And the way that they make it all make sense is they hire black people to co-sign their bullshit. So there'll be a black person in an authoritative position standing next to them while they shit on black America as they continue to deny Tulsa victims, erase our history, disrespect our ancestors by saying black people benefited from slavery. Imagine somebody German saying Jewish people benefited from the Holocaust. Look at all the discipline they gathered, or whatever they want to say. The only difference between that and what's happening to us is that the African Holocaust, which is what our ancestors went through, was 20 times worse than the Jewish Holocaust by every measure. How long it lasted, number of people dead, savagery, and the fact that we're still here with the descendants of the motherfuckers that did it. Those descendants told Jewish people to come here to get away from the evil Germans. The evil Germans. Who told us to come here so y'all can get away from those goddamn savages? No, we're here pretending like the descendants of those people are going to act morally. They're not even capable. They're not even capable. Too Cute said, now it's to the point. No, I'm sorry, I read that one. Yeah, Sluggo saying, wow, that shit's crazy. Too Cute saying, Sluggo, I felt so bad for my daughter, but she says she doesn't care. She's 12 years old. That'll grow thick skin, and hopefully there's some areas, some places you can take her to where she can be around people that were actually raised properly. Hopefully so. See, it's the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, that Ninja. Before I get out of here, a couple of little side notes. I won't get into anything too serious now as I close out, but as I'm thinking, I'm going to do that one in the morning. Do I have that? That's going to be interesting. Don't want that. I digress. Side note. This is very old now because I hadn't been on air. But let me say this, and this is way after the fact. And I know there are other things I want to talk about that I'm going to forget, and I just have to address that another day. But I realized all of the HBCU homecomings were happening over the past month and a half, and I never got a chance to get on air. Now, I take that back. I did come on air and do a show, and I forgot to address this then. But let me just say the Alabama A&M homecoming, it was the 150th anniversary, and that shit was completely off the chain. Now, I can't remember if I actually addressed it on air. I'm trying to remember if I did or not. I don't remember if I did. But let me just say that I don't think any homecoming that happened this year could touch what happened on the Hill this year. When I tell you everybody and their mama was in the city, and everybody and their mama was in the city, man, it was so damn crowded, and it was a good time. It was a good time. And if you were in that area, it was slow traffic. But I had a good time just kind of participating in the festivities, man, just soaking up the atmosphere. I didn't do much. And the people that I knew that were up there, man, I number one, my phone was acting up once I got up there. And two, it was so crowded, I really couldn't find shit. So I just kind of chopped it up with the people I saw when I was out and did what I always do. I always forget to take pictures. I never remember to take pictures and document the moment, but hopefully I'll get better about that. But just to throw it out there, and I know there was homecoming discussions, but I don't think there was a homecoming this year that touched what went down on the hill this year. A&M's homecoming was off the chain, 150th anniversary. That alumni base is ridiculous anyway, but everybody really came back for this one. Everybody really did come back for this one. So shout out to Alabama A&M hosting one hell of a homecoming. At this point, damn near a month ago. Damn near a month ago. But it was a good time. It was a good time. Oh, side note for the regular listeners, and Sluggo speaking about the microaggressions. Sluggo telling Too Cute, those microaggressions are the absolute worst. Yeah, they are. And I'm just to the point where I'm just done, man. I'm damn near 50, man. I'm just done with it. I'm done with it. I'm not gonna yell and scream or nothing like that, but anytime some dumb shit is said, I'm gonna address it. I'm gonna address it. It's gonna be subtle, but it just seems to me in certain games they tend to over officiate. But okay, man, this is such a ugly game. I mean, regardless of the level of defense, there is no reason for this game to be 3-0. And again, I'm sure they're in Green Bay, and I'm sure the weather's terrible. Oh, and that's something. Shout out to everybody in dealing with this frigid weather. Below freezing in the Ville, a little below freezing tomorrow. Then it's going to jump right back up. But for a couple of days at least, not ideal. Not ideal. Still heading to Ohio this year for Thanksgiving, but I've changed up the menu. Usually I grill every year. This year I suggested frying fish. So I'm actually going to fry fish this year, do some other things. Mom's going to make some egg rolls. So I'm going to do that. Now, I'm sure y'all were aware of this as it's been discussed on the show. You know, what I don't like, certain things I don't like and whatnot that most black people are fond of. Not a fan of catfish. I don't fuck with catfish for real. And I'm sure y'all know this because I'm sure most people that listen probably eat catfish. Did y'all know that when you get into really, the bulk purchase of it, the catfish is damn near twice as much as everything else? I'm looking at perch, whiting, even if you look at swai. Catfish is like twice as much. 15-pound box of damn catfish is $117. I was just surprised. I really don't think it tastes great like that. So you can get a damn box of perch for like $50. You can get a 15-pound box, as a matter of fact, like $55, I think. Whiting, like $52. But the same damn box of fucking catfish is $117. I knew ninjas love catfish, but I didn't know it was to that degree. I'm gonna make some calls and see what it is they want and whatnot. So I figured out. I'm gonna traffic everything up there because it's just gonna be easier that way. But switching it up this year, I'm gonna keep it simple. Fish fries, whatever size they're gonna make, some egg rolls, some different shit just to change it up from the normal Thanksgiving food. But the fact that it's this cold down here right now, I'm not looking forward to going to Ohio. But I will say that having to pull out the grill and the normal amount of grilling I do and the time that takes, this is going to make the load so much lighter for me. This is going to be a hell of a lot easier. If an Eagle player picked that up, he is good and stupid. I don't know what this is, man. Did they get paid to play bad football? If an Eagle player actually picked that football up, he is a moron. Why would you that? Okay, I'm just going to act like I didn't see that. That's crazy. But on the switch up, I suggested doing fish this year, and Mom's agreed. So going to enjoy that. Number one, I think that's a good change up after eating all of that good Thanksgiving food. And two, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to pull off, quite frankly, in comparison to a lot of grilling. So I'm going to enjoy that this year. I'm going to check with the fam. I guess I'll get some catfish if they want it. I didn't realize it was essentially twice as much as everything else. That's shocking. But it all goes to consumption. Obviously, the numbers Obviously, the numbers say that catfish is purchased at a much higher rate, which I find surprising. But, is what it is. Sluggo said, what's your fish of choice, sir? I'm thinking about adding more to my diet. My limited research says perch is a good replacement for tilapia. Um, my mom generally was making perch, and maybe I'll try some of theirs and see what it tastes like. I don't know how to describe this. The last couple of times I've had perch, man, it seems to have this weird taste to it. I can even smell it when it's cooking, and the only way I could describe it is it's kind of metallic. I don't I don't know what it is, but it's happened in several different occasions, even in different states, to the point where I left it alone. But at the meat market, I was looking at these cases of fish at. They do have, like, I got some of their whiting and just fried it just to see what it was like, and it was good. I'll probably get some of their perch just to see if it has that issue, because that's not a bad way to go. My favorite cut of fish right now is probably cod. I like doing cod more than anything. Some good beer battered cod. You can pan sear it, but beer battered cod and peanut oil, for me, you can't beat that shit with a bat. So cod would be my first go-to. Perch, when it didn't have that weird aftertaste, I wasn't mad at it, but I'd probably go whiting second, either perch or swai after that. Now, if we're really talking about my favorites, cod, orange roughy, um, it kind of depends, man. It depends. Just the last few times I got a hold of perch, there was some kind of taste in it I didn't care for. And I could even smell it when it was cooking. So I'm probably going to get some of theirs just to see how it comes out. For me, you can't beat cod. The only Sam's had a brand of cod that I really liked. They discontinued it, and they only have their store brand. And when I got it, it had bones in it. I haven't touched it since. That's the only time I've been disappointed in cod. I'm not trying to deal with bones. So I've been getting, Kroger has it at about 17 for a 2-pound bag. That's damn near as good as you're going to get for cod. So the next time it's on sale, I'm going to get as much of that as I can. I love cod. Easily my favorite piece of fish right now. Behind that, if I had a choice, I'd say orange roughy. If I stop and think about it, there are probably some other things I want. Orange roughy fried is really good. There are many other kinds, but they're not readily available. Mahi is good. All of these are going to be very expensive. I never see things like this by the case. I don't live in an area like that. Right now, if I'm being realistic, my go-tos, especially if I'm going classic and I'm going to fry it, cod first, probably whiting or perch behind it, probably swai behind that, unless I can get a hold of some orange roughy, some things like that, crappie. Somebody goes and catches a bunch of crappie, I'd rather have that, but that's my order. But to me right now, my first choice is cod, hands down. Cod, hands down. I didn't bother bringing up salmon. I guess that goes without saying. I will say I ate so much damn salmon that I haven't eaten it in a while. Last time I had salmon, it was cooked for me. It was good too. But I haven't made it in a while. I think I overdosed on salmon because I made it so much. At this point, I can probably go back to it. And I'll tell you another reason I slowed down is because I got a hold of some white salmon, and I prefer the taste of it, and I haven't been able to find it since. And that's another reason I slowed down. I still prefer the pink salmon. I still don't mind it, but there's a definite taste difference in the way the white salmon tastes, and that's what I want at this point. And again, Sam's, last time I went, didn't sell that anymore. I got to check again, but that's where I was getting it from. So I got to go somewhere and find, somebody that actually sells that, because I prefer that taste at this point. And again, I really think I ate so much of it, I just kind of backed off of it a little bit because I consumed so much salmon. I was really, crushing salmon for a minute. But I just saw that in one chat, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Now, where are we at? Okay, there's a couple of chats in here. Sluggo saying right now it's 31 on the south side of the A. Yeah, it's 31 right now in Huntsville. It was about 20-something this morning. And I actually told my guys to stay home because they weren't going to do shit but stay in the truck anyway. On top of being in the 30s, the wind was at 20 miles an hour, so I didn't even work today. Now I work for the rest of the week. I'm about to break out the coverall suit and the boots and all that good shit. Touchdown. Booker Devontae. Slow, methodical, ugly game. But again, I mean, you want to be able to win these ugly ass games too. And there's still a lot of time left and a lot of football left, but slow and ugly, but Eagles taking control. And again, lot of time left. 10-point lead isn't shit. That's not substantial. It's damn sure not insurmountable. Damn sure not insurmountable. Ha! 2Q said, hey, now I got catfish fillets in my freezer. I'm not a fan. I don't. The only catfish I could tolerate was farm raised because it didn't taste as wild or whatever you want to say. And even to eat that, I had to have it heavily seasoned, which isn't even the way I like to eat my fish. So I'm not a fan. And I haven't touched catfish in years. But yeah, my go-to is cod. If I can't get cod, I'll eat whiting or perch if it doesn't have that weird taste. And I'm not against swai. Certain cuts of it I'm good with. So that's me. I love cod though, Sluggo. I love cod. Outside of having bones in it, I don't have any problems with cod. And now I got my beer battered cod down to a science. I can feel the temperature dropping too. I turn the heat down to low, and I righteously need to reach over there and crank that shit up. I can righteously feel that. Sluggo said, what's your fish of choice, sir? Okay, he did read that. I'm thinking about adding more to my diet. My limited research. Okay, I read that one. My bad. Sluggo saying too cute. I'm definitely going to do salmon as well. Oh, yeah. And I didn't. Yeah, salmon goes without saying, but I'm sure salmon goes without saying. Too cute said with some asparagus. My go-to was salmon. When I make it at home, I never make a starch. It's just salmon and usually something green. If I'm out, salmon, usually jasmine rice or rice pilaf, and asparagus most of the time. And if your asparagus is limp, it's overcooked. Sluggo said at the DeKalb Farmers Market, they'll fillet it at your request. Nice. Y'all have definitely have more access to that than I do here. Unfortunately for me, but yeah, those cases aren't bad. I'm gonna get one of those, maybe two or whatever. Run that up to Ohio and then fry hella fish. But I'm gonna call up my family, see how many people are gonna show up. But I'm looking forward to that because that's a hell of a lot easier, and fried fish is never a bad idea. I appreciate y'all listening to me and tolerating my rant. I know that the cows are like are basically hostages at this point. My apologies. I have 8 of them to run off. I'm not going to do it tonight, and I know, but I'll just say that quality of life. I will. I'll be back next Monday for sure. At the bare minimum, I won't miss any more Mondays. I got y'all on that. I'm going to need a spare show or two to make up for things. I will say right now, the game of football is very disappointing for me on a personal level right now. A lot of things happening that I'm not a big fan of. Some of it is just teams I like losing. I will say that shout out to my predictions, the majority of which have been absolutely horrible. Shout out to my predictions. Right now, Atlanta not playing the ball they're capable of. 2 or 3 games lost on kicks. Last-minute plays here and there, losing a lot of close games that they were capable of winning. So many teams I'm rooting for not having great seasons, and so many teams that I'm largely not a fan of doing well. It is very disappointing on a personal level for me as a football fan. Now, I can sit back and appreciate the beautiful coordinated efficiency that is the game of football as far as X's and O's and execution. But on a personal level, not a great year for me. Not a great year at all. Sluggo, don't laugh at me if you're laughing at that football thing. And again, I'd like to think that me becoming a fan of the Falcons didn't help aid in the way things are going. I'd like to think I'm not a bad luck shamrock, but right now, so many teams I'm rooting for are not doing well. So the season's not over. Season's not over. To quote Sluggo, I had to look at the record now. I can't remember, but what, 6? Okay, is it 9? Okay, whatever in 6 is still on the table. We'll see. We'll see. But very disappointing right now. I just hope this doesn't continue because the playoffs are going to be very ugly if the way the football continues. They're going to be very unappealing for me. Hey, look, man, appreciate y'all. I'm about to do an abbreviated outro and get out of here. Thank y'all for coming aboard and rolling with me. Thank you for the back and forth. As always, I appreciate the therapy. I do not, and I'm not going to run back in there and grab that bottle. I do not have my bottle, and I'm not going to go in there and grab it. But I'll do this symbolically. R.I.P. DT. Pops taught me to think of all I speak, but speak not all I think. Simply put, that means that sometimes you need to at least think about what you're about to say. I'm sorry. That means that sometimes you either need to shut the fuck up or at least think about what it is you're about to say and who you're about to say it to. R.I.P. DT. I usually take a shot for Pop, but I'm going to chill tonight. Love you, Pop. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for the back and forth. Thank you for your input too, Q. I always enjoy when you come through. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Thank y'all for the back and forth, man. I appreciate it. I'm going to watch the rest of this slow burning ass football game. I'll catch y'all next Monday, man. As always, take care. And I know I'm being lazy on the outro, man, but I'm a little bit over the time I meant to go for tonight. Appreciate y'all, man. We'll see y'all next time. As always, take care and be easy.